trapped in the witch's lair, a terrifying forest encounter. Scary story. I never thought I would find myself locked up with a witch, but that's exactly what happened to me. It was a terrifying encounter that still haunts me to this day. The events I'm about to share will chill you to the bone. Why am I sharing my story? Because I believe it is important to shed light on the existence of supernatural creatures and the dangers they pose. My hope is that by sharing my experience, others may be forewarned and better prepared if they ever find themselves in a similar situation. This is not a tale for the faint-hearted, but it is one that needs to be told. So gather your courage and join me as I recount my horrifying encounter with a witch. My encounter with the witch. It was a dark and stormy night when I stumbled upon an old, decrepit house deep within the forest. Little did I know that this would be the beginning of my terrifying encounter with a witch. As soon as I stepped inside, a chill ran down my spine. The air was thick with an eerie silence. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was the witch herself. Her appearance was unlike anything I had ever seen before. Disheveled hair, piercing eyes, and a sinister grin that sent shivers down my spine. From that moment on, I knew I was trapped in a nightmare beyond my wildest imaginations. Why I am sharing my story? I am sharing my story because I believe that it is important for others to be aware of the danger that lurks in the shadows. My encounter with the witch left me scarred, both physically and mentally, and I don't want anyone else to go through what I experienced. By sharing my terrifying ordeal, I hope to raise awareness about the existence of supernatural beings and the dark magic they possess. It is my hope that by sharing my story, others can be better equipped to protect themselves and avoid falling victim to the same fate as me. I had always heard stories about the mysterious forest located on the outskirts of town. It was rumored to be a place where dark forces dwelled, and only the brave or foolish would dare to venture into its depths. Curiosity got the better of me one day, and I found myself drawn to explore the forbidden woods. Little did I know that this decision would lead me into a terrifying encounter with a witch. The forest was an eerie place, with its dense trees casting long shadows and an unsettling silence that hung in the air. Little did I know that my curiosity would soon turn into fear as I stumbled upon the witch's lair. The forest location. The forest location where my terrifying encounter took place was a remote and isolated part of the countryside. It was surrounded by towering trees and thick undergrowth, creating an eerie atmosphere that sent shivers down my spine. The forest seemed to have a magnetic pull, drawing in unsuspecting travelers like myself and trapping them within its sinister grasp. The dense foliage concealed any signs of civilization, making it feel like a forgotten realm, far away from the safety of civilization. It was within this desolate forest that I found myself face to face with the witch, her presence emanating a malevolent energy that permeated the very air around us. How I ended up there. I found myself in the forest by complete accident. It was a beautiful summer day, and I decided to go on a leisurely hike to enjoy nature. Little did I know that my innocent adventure would lead me straight into the clutches of a witch. As I wandered deeper into the forest, mesmerized by its serenity, I unknowingly crossed into the territory where the witch resided. It was a moment of sheer bad luck, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. If only I had known what awaited me, I would have turned back immediately. The witch's reputation. It was common knowledge in the area that the witch who resided in the forest was not to be trifled with. Tales of her dark and sinister practices had spread throughout the town for generations. The locals believed that she possessed supernatural powers and used them for her own nefarious purposes. People spoke of disappearances, curses, and strange occurrences happening to those who dared to cross her path. The witch's reputation instilled fear and caution in anyone who heard her name, making me all the more terrified when I found myself locked up with her. First encounter. As the moon cast a pale glow over the dense forest, I stumbled upon the witch. It was an eerie sight. Her gnarled fingers reached out from beneath her tattered cloak, while her haggard face seemed to hold centuries of wisdom and darkness. Fear took hold of me as she locked her piercing gaze onto my trembling form, seemingly peering into my soul. Her presence exuded a malevolence that sent shivers down my spine. I could sense that this encounter would not bode well for me. The appearance of the witch. As I stood frozen, eager, I could hardly believe my eyes. The witch before me was a sight straight out of nightmares. She was tall and thin, with long knotted hair that seemed to blend seamlessly with her tattered black cloak. Her skin was pale and sickly, almost as if she had never seen the sun. But what truly sent a chill down my spine were her eyes, piercing and intense, a deep shade of red that seemed to glow in the dim light of the forest. There was an aura of darkness surrounding her, and every fiber of my being screamed to run far away from this terrifying creature. The feeling of terror. As soon as I laid eyes on the witch, a surge of terror coursed through my veins. It was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. The sheer sight of her sent shivers down my spine. Her dark, piercing eyes seemed to penetrate my very soul, leaving me feeling exposed and vulnerable. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to run, to escape this terrifying presence. But as much as I wanted to flee, I couldn't move. It was as if her presence immobilized me with fear, trapping me in a state of helplessness. Time stood still, and all I could do was wait for whatever horrors lay ahead. The witch's strange behavior. As I stood there, frozen with terror, I couldn't help but notice the strange behavior of the witch. Her movements were jerky and unnatural, as if she was possessed by something otherworldly. She would twitch and convulse, her eyes rolling back into her head, before suddenly snapping back to reality with a malevolent grin on her face. It was as if she was being controlled by forces beyond her control, and it sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't understand what was happening, but one thing was clear. This witch was not like anything I had ever encountered before. Trapped. As the witch's spell engulfed me, I felt an overwhelming sense of doom. My attempts to escape were futile as invisible barriers barricaded me within her dark lair. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped at the mercy of a sinister force. Every step I took only led me deeper into the clutches of this malevolent witch. My heart pounded in my chest as desperation and helplessness consumed me. The walls closed in, suffocating me as I struggled to find a way out. Each passing moment intensified my fear, amplifying the horror of my predicament. The witch's spell. The witch's spell was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. As soon as she uttered the incantation, I could feel a surge of dark energy enveloping me. It was as if invisible chains had wrapped themselves tightly around my body, rendering me completely immobile. I tried to scream for help, but no sound would escape my lips. It was a terrifying realization that I was completely under the witch's control. The spell trapped me, leaving me helpless and at the mercy of this sinister sorceress. The fear inside me only grew stronger as I realized the depths of her power and her intentions for me, unable to escape. As I desperately tried to break free from the clutches of the witch's spell, I soon realized that escape was futile. No matter how hard I struggled against the invisible force that held me captive, it only seemed to strengthen its grip on me. I pounded my fists against the walls, screamed for help until my voice grew hoarse, but there was no one around to hear my pleas. The feeling of helplessness enveloped me, suffocating any remaining hope I had of escaping this nightmare. It became painfully clear that I was at the mercy of this malevolent witch, with no way out in sight. Feeling helpless. As I stood there, trapped in the clutches of the witch, a wave of helplessness washed over me. My heart raced, my breath quickened, and an overwhelming sense of powerlessness consumed me. I tried desperately to break free from her spell, but every attempt was in vain. It was as if I was imprisoned in my own body, unable to control my fate. The realization that I was completely at the mercy of this malevolent creature sent shivers down my spine. The fear of what could happen next weighed heavily on my mind, intensifying my feeling of helplessness. It was a terrifying and humbling experience that left me yearning for escape and praying for a glimmer of hope. Horrifying revelations. After being trapped by the witch, I began to uncover the true extent of her intentions. It was horrifying to realize that she had no intention of letting me go. Her dark magic was at play, fueled by an insidious desire to inflict harm. The fear of what could happen weighed heavily on me, making every moment unbearable. I couldn't escape the feeling of impending doom, knowing that her twisted intentions could lead to my demise. The horrifying revelations only intensified my desperation to find a way out and survive this terrifying ordeal. The witch's intentions. As I sat, trapped in the clutches of the witch, terror consumed me as I tried to decipher her intentions. Was she merely trying to instill fear, or did she have something more sinister in mind? Her eerie presence suggested that her motives were far from benign. The way she laughed and taunted me hinted at a sadistic pleasure she derived from my suffering. It became clear that she wanted to torment me, to break me down mentally and emotionally. Understanding her malevolent intentions only fueled my determination to escape her clutches and survive this terrifying ordeal. The dark magic at play. As I struggled to survive in the clutches of the witch, it became clear that there was more at play than just her terrifying presence. The air crackled with an eerie energy, and I could feel the heavy weight of dark magic surrounding me. It seemed as if the witch drew power from this sinister force, using it to bind me tighter and fuel her malevolent intentions. Every flick of her fingers and muttered incantation sent shivers down my spine, a chilling reminder of the supernatural abilities she possessed. It was clear that she had honed her skills in black magic over years, harnessing its twisted power for her own purposes. Her every action resonated with a hint of the occult, leaving no doubt that she was dabbling in forces far beyond human comprehension. The dark magic cast a shadow on my very soul, amplifying my fear and making it nearly impossible to fight back. It felt as if invisible chains were tightening around me with each passing moment, constricting my freedom and draining my strength. This unseen force was like a silent accomplice to the witch's evil plans, intertwining with her twisted desires and making them all the more potent. In the midst of this supernatural struggle, I couldn't help but wonder what havoc the witch could wreak with her dark magic if I didn't find a way to escape. The realization that I was at the mercy of such wicked power filled me with dread beyond words. Every fiber of my being screamed for release from this terror-inducing spell, my thoughts consumed by visions of what atrocities could be unleashed by the witch's incantations. But amidst these nightmarish thoughts, a glimmer of hope began to emerge, a belief that there must be a way to break free from this malevolent enchantment. With each passing day, I grew more determined to gather my strength and find a way to confront the witch head-on. Only then would I have a chance to not only survive this chilling ordeal, but also put an end to the dark magic that threatened not just my life, but the lives of others as well. The fear of what could happen. As I sat trapped in that dark room, the fear of what could happen consumed me. The witch's intentions became clearer with each passing moment, and I knew that my life was in imminent danger. The dark magic at play was palpable, fueling my terror and leaving me paralyzed with fear. I couldn't help but imagine the gruesome fate that awaited me if I couldn't find a way to escape. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind outside heightened my anxiety, amplifying the horrors that could befall me. The fear was suffocating, making it even more difficult to gather the strength and courage I needed to survive this harrowing ordeal. Struggling to survive, as I found myself trapped in the clutches of the wicked witch, I quickly realized that the only thing standing between me and certain doom was my will to survive. Every fiber of my being screamed for escape, but the witch's spell seemed to bind me tighter with each passing moment. I mustered all of my strength and courage to fight against her dark magic. Desperation fueled my attempts to break free, as I tried everything from pleading with the witch to using whatever makeshift tools I could find to pry open my prison. Fear consumed me as I weighed the options, fight or flight. The intense desire for freedom clashed with the overwhelming terror that gripped my heart. The witch took pleasure in taunting me, reveling in my struggle and savoring every moment of my torment. But amidst this chaotic battle for survival, a glimmer of hope emerged. With each passing day, I felt a flicker of inner strength growing within me. It fueled a determination that surpassed all odds and propelled me forward. As exhaustion enveloped me, I reminded myself that giving up was not an option. The realization dawned on me that only by facing the witch head-on could I have any chance at breaking free from her sinister grasp. With every ounce of courage coursing through my veins, I gathered my strength for what would be the final battle against the witch who held me captive. The uncertainty of what lay ahead ignited a mix of fear and determination within me, but I knew deep down that this was a fight I could not afford to lose. Survival had become my sole focus, and breaking free from this nightmarish ordeal was an all-consuming obsession. Little did I know at that moment that the final battle would push both myself and the boundaries of reality to their absolute limits. Attempts to break free. In that terrifying moment, trapped in the clutches of a witch, my survival instinct kicked in. I knew I had to find a way to break free from her spell and escape this nightmare. With every ounce of strength, I tried to pry open the invisible chains that held me captive. I pulled and pushed, desperately hoping for a breakthrough. But each attempt ended in frustration as the spell seemed too strong to overcome. It felt like an endless battle against an unseen force, leaving me feeling even more helpless and fearful for what awaited me. Fight or flight response. As I stood face to face with the terrifying witch, an overwhelming surge of fear washed over me. My heart raced, my palms became clammy, and every instinct in my body screamed at me to either fight or flee. The fight or flight response kicked in, causing my body to prepare for the intense situation I found myself in. Adrenaline surged through my veins, sharpening my senses and giving me a rush of energy. It was a crucial moment where I had to make a split-second decision. Do I muster up the courage to fight back against this powerful witch, or do I succumb to my instincts and run for my life? The witch's cruel taunts. As I found myself trapped in the clutches of the witch, her cruelty became apparent through her taunts. She reveled in my fear and helplessness, using her words to torment me further. Her voice, dripping with malice, echoed through the eerie silence of the forest, sending shivers down my spine. She mocked my attempts to escape, reminding me that I was at her mercy. Her words were like barbs, digging into my already fragile state of mind. Every cruel taunt only served to intensify my terror and fuel my determination to find a way out of this nightmarish ordeal. The final battle. With every fiber of my being, I gathered what little strength and courage remained within me. It was time for the final battle against the witch that had held me captive for what felt like an eternity. My heart pounded in my chest as I planned my approach, determined to find a way to break her spell and escape this nightmare. The air crackled with tension as I stood face to face with the witch, ready to confront her once and for all. This was the moment that would decide my fate, and I was prepared to give it everything I had. Gathering strength and courage. As I stood face to face with the terrifying witch, a surge of adrenaline coursed through my veins. Despite the overwhelming fear that consumed me, I knew I had to gather every ounce of strength and summon the courage within me. It was a daunting task, but there was no other choice. I took a deep breath, drawing upon every resource I had left in order to face this formidable opponent. In that moment, I realized that survival depended not only on physical strength, but also on the resilience and determination of my spirit. With my heart pounding in my chest, I prepared myself for what would be the final battle against the witch. Finding a way to break the spell. I was determined to find a way to break the spell that had trapped me in the clutches of the terrifying witch. I scoured my surroundings, desperately searching for any clues or signs that could lead to my escape. Fear drove me to think quickly and creatively, as I knew that time was running out. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I stumbled upon an old book hidden beneath a pile of debris. It contained ancient incantations and spells, a ray of hope amidst the darkness. With trembling hands, I began to recite the words, hoping against all odds that it would free me from this nightmare. Confronting the witch. I mustered every ounce of bravery I had left as I prepared to confront the witch. The air was heavy with anticipation, and I could feel the weight of the dark magic surrounding us. As I approached her, a mix of fear and determination consumed me. The witch stared at me with piercing eyes, a wicked smile etched across her face. With all my might, I demanded answers and demanded to be freed from her spell. Her laughter echoed through the forest, but I refused to back down. It was a battle of wills, and I was determined to emerge victorious. Escaping the witch. Breaking free from the clutches of the witch was an intense battle of willpower and determination. As I gathered my strength and courage, an idea sparked in my mind. I knew I had to find a way to break the spell that held me captive. With every ounce of energy, I confronted the witch, determined to put an end to her reign of terror. It was a terrifying moment, but I fought with all my might. Finally, just as hope seemed to fade, I managed to break free from her sinister grasp. With my heart pounding and adrenaline coursing through my veins, I ran for my life, desperate to put as much distance between myself and the wicked witch as possible. Every shadow seemed like a potential threat as fear consumed me. The path ahead was treacherous and uncertain, but there was no turning back now. The aftermath. End blog still following previous section content. keeping first-person POV and straightforward tone. Breaking free. With every ounce of strength left in me, I mustered the courage to break free from the clutches of the witch. My heart raced as adrenaline fueled my actions. Every step I took was filled with fear and determination, knowing that any false move could seal my fate. The sound of my pounding footsteps echoed through the eerie silence of the forest, creating a symphony of desperation. The thought of being trapped forever haunted my mind, providing the motivation needed to push through the pain and exhaustion. As I sprinted towards freedom, a glimmer of hope emerged in the distance, urging me to keep going, running for my life. As I broke free from the witch's clutches, my heart raced with adrenaline-fueled panic. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to run, to escape the horror that I had just experienced. With each step, my legs pumped furiously, propelling me forward into the darkness of the forest. Fear overwhelmed me, but it also fueled my determination to survive. I could hear the witch's menacing cackles echoing behind me, driving me to run faster, to push myself beyond my limits. It was a race against time and evil, and I knew that my life depended on reaching safety as quickly as possible. The aftermath. After finally escaping the clutches of the witch, the aftermath of my terrifying encounter left me physically and emotionally shattered. The haunting memories of those dark moments lingered in my mind, causing sleepless nights filled with nightmares. Physically, I bore the scars of the battle, reminders of the intense struggle for survival. Mentally, I struggled to regain a sense of normalcy, haunted by the fear that the witch would return to finish what she had started. It took time, therapy, and the unwavering support of loved ones, but eventually I was able to find some semblance of peace and rebuild my life. The aftermath served as a constant reminder of the strength within me and the importance of cherishing every day. Conclusion. Reflecting back on my terrifying encounter with the witch, I am filled with a mix of emotions. The experience has left a lasting impact on me, as nightmares still haunt me in the dark of night. However, sharing my story has been cathartic and has helped me find closure. By recounting my ordeal, I hope to raise awareness about the dangers that may lurk in the shadows. It is a chilling reminder that evil exists, and we must remain vigilant. Although I managed to escape physically unharmed, the mental scars will forever serve as a reminder of the horrors I endured. The lasting impact of my encounter with the witch has been deeply profound. It's something that has haunted me ever since that horrifying experience. I still have nightmares about her, waking up in cold sweats, feeling a lingering sense of terror. My once cheerful nature has been replaced with a constant state of unease and paranoia. I find it difficult to trust others fully, always wondering if they too are hiding dark secrets or harboring evil intentions. The scars left by the witch's presence are not just physical, but emotional as well. I am forever changed by that terrifying encounter, and it will continue to shape my perspective on life for years to come. Finding closure. After my terrifying encounter with the witch, finding closure became essential for me. I couldn't let the fear and trauma of what I had experienced consume me. Seeking closure meant confronting the haunting memories head-on and allowing myself to heal. It involved therapy sessions, support from loved ones, and engaging in activities that brought me joy. Gradually, the nightmares faded and a sense of calm replaced the constant anxiety. Although the memories will always be a part of me, finding closure allowed me to move forward with my life and reclaim my sense of safety. The lesson learned write a frightening story with real and very, very terrifying events. The experience of being locked up with a witch was undoubtedly the most terrifying ordeal I've ever faced. The fear, the helplessness, and the dark forces at play are not easily forgotten. But amidst the horror, there is a valuable lesson to be learned. This encounter taught me that evil exists in this world and can manifest itself in unimaginable ways. It is a reminder to always be cautious of our surroundings and to trust our instincts. It's a lesson that has changed me forever and has made me appreciate life's fragility in a whole new light. Thank you for joining us for this spine-tingling story. We hope you found it both thrilling and thought-provoking. If you enjoyed this video, please consider participating in our channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing it with your friends. Your support goes a long way in helping us create more engaging content for you. Goodbye, and may you always tread carefully in the world of the unknown.